All right, so my name is Barbara Fahringer. I think most of you know me. And today we are going to explore the shoulder girdle through imagery, movement, and spirals. This is a mind, body, spirit approach. We have here an image of the galaxy that our sun is in, the Milky Way. And as you could see, it's a spiral, and spirals are everywhere in our world, far out into space and all the way into our inner bodies. And so as we work with the shoulder girdle, we're going to also incorporate a spiral movement and start to embody spirals directly into our world, into our life. And so the intention is for you to have a deeper sense of the shoulder girdle and a personal sense of your spatial awareness, as well as the connection to the spirit inside of you and the spirit in nature around us. And to do this, we will briefly review the anatomy of the bones and joints of the shoulder girdle. We will use imagery to kinesthetically connect to the shoulder girdle and arms. We'll physically experience the shoulder girdle through various movements, including that spiral movement. And we'll use this movement as a meditation on expanding our connection to the spiraling universe and spirals in nature. And I'll demonstrate this step by step as we move along. And I just want to say a couple words about my background. I have a master's in dance education, and I'm also a licensed massage therapist in New York, and I've been through the RPP program. I love polarity. I also studied and taught astrology. And I'm involved in the Sacred Dance Guild. So all of this work is very dear to my heart, and I'm always looking for ways to connect all of it together into like one piece. And so this is a way I feel that I could connect all of it. It's a small part. And so I'm hoping that as we go along, you'll experience some of this for yourselves. I want to do a little shout out to Mabel Ellsworth Todd, who wrote The Thinking Body. She was born in 1880, so she was really ahead of her time. She is the founder of what's known as ideokinesis, type of somatic education that we're going to touch into a little bit today. And she said, for every thought supported by feeling, there is a muscle change. Primary muscle patterns being the biological heritage of man. Man's whole body records his emotional thinking. And as body workers, we really understand that. For every thought supported by feeling, there's a muscle change. So we're going to be working mind, body, spirit with our bodies today. Okay. Now, we were talking about how there's spirals everywhere in the universe, and there's also spirals in our bodies. So one very typical spiral that you can see, this is on a young child, is the hair whorl at the top of the crown. So I like to think of this as like the spiral at our crown chakra, and it's connecting out into the spiral of our galaxy or the universe, right? So that's one example. Another example, of course, here in nature, we have the shell. And if you look at the cochlea in the inner ear, you see that this is also very much the same as the shell shape. And of course, the cochlea has to do with our hearing, and connected to it is the vestibular system, which has to do with our sense of balance and some spatial awareness. So we're going to be working a little bit with our connection to our ears as well today. All right, so here is this lovely person who, okay. So we see here the shoulder girdle. Here's the two clavicles, the scapulas in the back. The head of the humerus is in the glenoid fossa, a very shallow ballad socket joint. And as we move this around, I love looking at how there's all this space in between the scapula and the rib cage. I mean, of course, there's soft tissue and there are muscles and ligaments and whatever. But when we move, it's really extremely free, depending upon the tension in the muscles. And the clavicles also move when we move our arms. So it's as if the whole arm, including the scapula, is really attached at the top of the manubrium, at the top of the sternum, right in there, in the sternoclavicular joint. And we'll experience this today as well. This gives us so much ability to like really reach up and back and have like a lot of mobility in our upper torsos and our upper, with our arms. So once again, it's as if the only place the entire shoulder girdle and arms are connected is at the top of the sternum, right there. Now we'll do a little ideokinesis. Here we have a cape that happens to be tied right at the top of the sternum. So we can imagine that this cape is like our shoulder girdle, is like our arms and our scapula and our clavicle, and it's all attached right where it's tied there at the top of the sternum. You could touch into the top of your sternum and actually feel along your clavicles, down your arm. If you could touch your scapulas a little bit, just get some tactile aid there. If we were working in together, we could be doing some tactile aid with each other. And just imagine that this cape is on your body. It's hanging down past your fingertips, down your back, and it's all attached right at the top of the sternum. And you could just relax and take a couple breaths and just imagine somebody smoothing the wrinkles out of that cape down your back. So your scapulas are being smoothed down your back. Your arms are hanging, very relaxed. Everything is hanging just from that central spot and at the top of your manubrium. And just relax and experience that for a moment. You know, you could always unmute yourself if you want to make any comments or questions. So I'm hoping that, are you all getting a sense of feeling that relaxation in your fingertips? Okay. So keeping that sensation in mind, I'm going to stop my share and we're going to do some movement. So it's best if you stand up. If you don't have room to stand up, you could attempt to do this sitting down, but it won't be as easy. So what we want to do is get the sense of our sternoclavicular joints and how it moves when we move our arms. So you could put your left hand on your sternoclavicular right side, the right clavicle, and then reach out from your fingertips and you're going to move around in a 365-degree motion. And this will, and you will feel how your clavicle is moving. Of course, your scapula is moving as well. And you want to just experience how it's like your fingertips, from your fingertips to the top of your sternum is all of a piece. It's all like one really long arm. And then circle back the other way and feel that connection. And then take a moment, see if your awareness from one arm to the other feels any different. And then let's do the other side. Okay, again, so feel into the sternoclavicular joint and just do a long, really long 360-degree rotation, sort of like backstroke. Okay. And then come back the other way and really feel how your clavicle is moving in that joint, how it really relates to the whole arm movements. How's that? How are you feeling there, guys? Is that good? All right, thanks. So, at any time, if you have an important question, just feel free to unmute and ask. So, when we think about this area of the body, we have, when you get the next notch down, your thymus is right under the sternum as well. And as we activate the shoulder girdle, which connects in right to the sternum, I like to think that we're also activating not just the heart chakra, but the thymus gland, which has a lot to do with how safe we are, our immune system. And in a way, this movement is how are we safe in the world? How can we reach out into the world and also be safe in our bodies? So we're going to start doing a spiral movement. And I just saw that wonderful movie, My Octopus Teacher. And I couldn't help but think about the spiraling of the octopus when I was doing this movement as well. So the next movement you might want to watch first. We're going to reach out into space, and you could keep your legs relaxed, your knees relaxed, and you're going to reach out into space behind you. And when you've reached out as far as you can from all the way tip of your clavicle to the end of your fingers, you're going to let your fingertips curl around. And as if you're embracing some large, soft object in front of you, and then you get closer and closer and closer and spiral all the way into yourself. And then at this point, when you've gone as far as you can, you let your scapula start the motion. So imagine your scapula, feel your scapula starting the unwinding motion back out into space. Okay. So you reach out as far as you can, curl around, 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 and let the scapula start the movement back and sort of unwind your arm out. So this is our spiral, and we'll watch our fingertips. So you're going to watch your fingers as you come around, watch your hand the whole time, come around, and then the scapula unwinds you back out. Okay, how is that feeling, everybody? Getting that? Take a step. Okay. So, at your own speed, just out, and then softly you come around and you spiral in, watching your hand. And this spiraling in and out can also be thought of as a metaphor, an embodiment of the idea of reaching out into the world and gathering information. And you bring that information into you closer and closer, and you process it in your inner space. And then you take that processed information back out and offer it out into the world and gather other information in. You could think of it as a way of asking for help from spirit or from others, and then bringing that help in, because you have to use the help you get. It could also be a way of dealing with something, not constantly, but you have a situation you're working with, and you're there and you're out of it, or you're working with it in a way that's ever increasing your knowledge and ability. It's not static. So you might want to rest. How does that arm feel? And then let's try the other side. So again, you could feel in if you want. And you reach out into space and curve your fingers around something large and soft. Curl around, around, around. And then let your scapula unwind you. Unwind your arm out back into space. And curl around, around, around. And let it go out. Remember to breathe. Remember to feel your body, your arms, and also be connected to space, to spirit, to reaching out, to thinking about all the things that you're processing. In the Huna tradition, Phil Young said one time that in the Huna tradition, the soul is thought to be a spiral shape in the body. So this could also be a way of connecting with our spiraling soul body as well. And keep watching your hand. Oh. How's everybody doing with that? I don't have my gallery view up, so I have to do that. Are you guys feeling pretty good? You give me a thumbs up on that?
That's feeling great.
Okay, good, good. All right, so I'd like to turn it into, we're gonna do a double spiral. We're gonna do both arms at once. Before we do that, you might wanna just quickly do this sort of Qigong spiral that we do, you know, and then you slap your shoulder. So you get the feeling in your body of what it's gonna be like. We'll probably do it more slowly, but it's the same kind of movement. This time it'll be hard to watch your hands. You just let your head go with your torso. And, you know, so slow down, and you reach out. And when I do this, I really feel my scapula working. The scapula is pulling me one way and then pulling me the other way. And you keep your arms soft. Your eyes, look at your hands, but they just sort of move as the torso moves with the head. You watch your hands as you're moving this way and that way. I just want to watch you guys for a minute as you're doing it. And it's about the feeling and the concept of how you're doing it more than trying to be perfect. You want to just stay connected to your shoulder girdle and stay connected to the world and to your inner life all at once. And now, if you feel brave and you want to close your eyes or partly close your eyes, try listening to your arms moving, listening to your space. Be aware of your space as you move with your eyes closed. Where are you in space? How are your arms moving? Think of your ear being connected to your arms, to your hands. Like you're hearing, you're listening to your movements. And if at any point you feel like you want to take this movement, make it bigger or differently shaped, you could feel free to do that as well. Oh. So how is that feeling? Do you have any questions? Do you have any thoughts you would like to share about this experience?
I have a question.
Yes.
When we're doing this, are we doing both physical activity in the sense that we're aiding the shoulder in movement and doing a spiritual practice, or are we doing more a spiritual practice?
Oh, that's a very good question. For me, it's kind of both. It could be one or the other or both. I feel that actually this work brings spirit into the body. So it's like you're aware of your physical body, but it's almost like spirit is infusing the movement as you do it. because it is connecting to like that spiraling. I think of it as spiraling into my soul and out into spirit, but it's also very physical as well. It almost becomes merged together. Does that help?
Absolutely, because it feels also like it's physically nourishing the shoulder girdle, because you realize how much goes into the movement of a shoulder. You don't quite realize it otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara, for sharing this. I think for me, what was curious was when we were to have our scapula lead us back out to the universe.
Uh-huh.
It was more challenging on my right side.
Okay.
And I had to make a conscious effort to actually have my scapula and not my hand lead me on my right, whereas on my left, my scapula took the lead to return back to universe. So I found that really curious in my body. And then physically, I actually got dizzy, so I had to slow it down and I had to sit down. But for my spirit, it felt very resourced in that I loved how you kept inviting us to use this and to connect with it in our own way and to have a different shape and expression of that. And so that was a really beautiful invitation.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So that it's great to have more awareness of how our bodies work and understand the different patterns that we have. And this is a way to help work to even out different sides of the body or get just a deeper awareness, which is really great. So thank you for sharing that. Realize I'm looking at my other screen. So I'm going to, we could continue to chat. I'm going to share my screen again. Let me go back here. And I want to go back one more time to Mabel Ellsworth Todd and read this again. Now that we've gone through the movement, for every thought supported by feeling, there is a muscle change. And also man's whole body records his emotional thinking. So as we're doing now, as we've done this movement, we think about how the way we're thinking about this movement, the way we're feeling about this movement is also changing the muscle pattern as we move. The same way with the cape, as you allow the image of the cape to smooth down over your arms, you're changing your muscles. And the more you do this kind of the work, the more your muscle patterns can change. Irmgard Bartenieff, she also did a lot of the work with shoulders, with arm circles. What I'm doing is sort of a modified version of some of her arm circles. And she was also another pioneer. And if it would be great if we were working in partners, then you could have somebody hold your scapula while you're doing your arm circles or you're moving your arm back and into the spiral, because it really helps you to feel that in space. These are people that have books either written about them or they've written books that deal with the subject. If you're interested, I can do a PDF and send you my PowerPoint so you have more information. And I'm hoping that over the next few days, you can see if you use your upper body and arms in a different way. Has this work encouraged you to appreciate the way your arms and shoulder girdle work? Will they feel different to you? And how is it if you take this experience into your life physically, emotionally, and mentally? So, and we still have a few more moments if you have any questions, if you would like to do the movement again, or if you need anything else to help you come to completion, just let me know. Thank you. Hi, Jackie. Oops.
Hi there. I just wanted to thank you. It was a really beautiful experience, and I loved to feel the openness of releasing from the scapula. Things I never would have thought about it specifically in that way, and it really felt like it kind of opened up just my whole thinking. Just it felt like it lightened up and opened up my whole body upwards. And just in my personal experience, I noticed a real sense of heaviness in the scapula. So while it was being opened, was like I was made awareness of sadness, kind of just in me. That's just my own thing. But I just want to say it was really interesting to think about that because, you know, I would never really think specifically about the scapula involved in the moving, even though it's the shoulder. So I just want to thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, yeah, we are. We're working with the heart chakra also. So this kind of movement really like, you know, opens up the heart chakra as well. So more feelings can come up as well as we work there. And of course, the scapula or the back of the heart chakra, you know, sort of protecting it in a way, moving around it. Well, if any other comments, or we could, I really appreciate, oh, Lua.
Barbara, yeah, just briefly, this was so remedial for me, especially after I shared what I shared. My
yes,
shoulder blade is like separated from my rib cage, and guess what? I have more air in my system. Space to breathe. So, holy shit. Maybe all I need to do is really do this exercise every morning. That'll be good. Right? That was great. It was so beneficial.
Thank you. I'm so glad.
Thank you.
That's great.
Barbara, I loved the fact that it brought the two polarities in of being open, yet bringing everything back to me. So it's emotion, and it felt really fluid in life. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you could put that slide up again, because I'll just take a screenshot of it, where you've got your resources. They seem very interesting to me. Thanks.
Okay.
Barbara, do they still have an institute in New York City?
They do, the limbs.
Laban.
Yeah, Laban Bartenia for, yeah. They do. I've always wanted to go through that full program, and I still have not done that. Maybe one of these days it'll happen. I always thought when I retired, I would go in, because it's like a year, you know, immersion. And I've always really, that was always very high on my list. So one of these days, they do still have a program. I don't know if they're doing much. It's kind of hard to do that teaching, I think, online. So I'm not sure if they're doing it. I mean, I do get emails and things from them though, yes.
Thank you. It was really a beautiful exercise in many, many ways.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Thank you.